What's up guys, Larry here from Ammo. A few weeks ago I went to the Jacob Javits Center in the New York Auto Show, and I walked in the door and the first thing that hit me in the face was BMW's brand new paint scheme called Frozen Paint. Now I'm walking around the show and I'm thinking to myself, well, how do I take care of it? Do I use the same products, the same methods, same techniques, all that stuff? So what better place to visit than right here, BMW's North American headquarters in New Jersey. I'm hoping to get all the answers to my questions coming up today on this episode of Drive Clean. Good to see you again.
Welcome to BMW.
All right, man.
Good to have you.
I saw you at the auto show, and the one thing I was looking at are these matte finish paint. So tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, the Frozen paints actually come from our overall BMW design group that you're familiar with in Munich. This is what they did in their spare time. All the way to the very, very top of our design group, they put these paints on their cars and they test drove them, and these paints are many years in development. I actually brought one of the cars from the New York show for you to see. It's the Frozen Blue M3 Coupe. You're gonna have a lot of fun looking at it up close, the way the Frozen paint absorbs light, the way it shows the contours of the car. It makes the M3, which dates back now to 2008 in its current generation, it makes it look like an all-new car once again.
I like it. Let's go back and check them out.
So here's the M3 from the New York show.
Wow.
You ought to recognize it.
This thing looks amazing.
So I brought the car out to you from the New York Auto Show, Larry, but I wanted to bring you to the guy that I believe is the absolute authority on BMW paint and body repair in the United States. He's the only guy that I would trust with one of my cars if it needed some real work. So with that set up, Walter Malec, Larry.
Hey man, nice to meet you.
Welcome.
I'm going to leave you in really good hands here. If you have more questions, let me know. I'm around, but this is the authority as far as I'm concerned.
I appreciate it.
The first thing I'd like to do is maybe take a step back. You were discussing frozen finish with Matt a little bit earlier. I'd like to take you at least 15 to 20 years back in refinish technology.
I think that's a good idea.
Single stage included the clear coat and the color coat all mixed together in one. So at the end of the day, that finish had to not only protect the vehicle from outside influences like stone chips, bird droppings, things of that nature, but it also had to give you the color and the appearance that you were looking for as a customer. And anybody that knows single stage remembers with a red vehicle, if you put a little bit of polish on a rag and hit the paint a little bit, rubbed a little bit, it came off red.
Comes off red, yeah.
Right? With a clear coat finish, which we introduced in the mid-90s, that clear coat high gloss finish reflects a lot of light. That's how gloss is measured, by how much light it reflects. So when you look at it, and if the appearance, let's say we go to an auto show and the cars are all polished and the wax's just perfect, the gloss level is very high. All car manufacturers more or less took a look at that in the early 90s, started to develop vehicles, limited vehicles with clear coat, and then by the mid-90s it was commonplace. Every car more or less has it today. Some of those clear coats are applied in different manners, some in powder form, some cars have powder clear coat, some manufacturers use that, some use a 2K solvent clear coat, but at the end of the day they all provide that holdout, that gloss, that high level of gloss, that luster, and customers enjoy that because it's much easier to take care of. You don't have to worry about rubbing through the finish.
Yeah.
If we take a step further and we look at vehicles today that we're producing with the frozen finish, the gloss level is not so high. It can be perceived as matte or satin finish by customers. And we actually have some additives that we put into the clear coat that reduce the gloss level. And when I say reduce the gloss level, it doesn't reflect as much light.
So it actually absorbs the light?
It's absorbing the light,
so
exactly.
The old school would be single stage, you rub it, comes off in your hand, right? It comes off on the towel.
Yep.
Then you get the clear coat, protects it, and you want to make extra shine. You know, you can polish, compound, all that stuff.
Right.
That's 99% of the cars today. Then you guys came up with the frozen paint. So instead of it actually reflecting or bouncing off the clear coat, it's actually absorbing it.
A large percentage of that light is absorbed, exactly, which is, to the average customer, it looks like a lower gloss level. But the additives that we put into the clear coat are actually helping absorb that light.
But it's just as protective?
Absolutely meets all the same standards, yes. So for stone chipping and corrosion resistance, environmental fallout, things like bird droppings, tree sap, things of that nature, yes, absolutely meets the same standards.
All right, so I'm getting a ton of emails and they're all asking me, what happens when the frozen paint gets scratched, or if they want to do a little touch up or they want to buff it or polish it? What do you say?
I'm glad that you asked. We get those questions all the time too. Come over here. I have a few props I want to show you and talk about a few different strategies that we have. And people ask about, oh, I have a light minor scuff in my frozen finish. Can I polish it out? So what we did here is we refinished a hood with frozen black and cured it properly, and then the next day we actually put a scratch in the outer surface, used a mild polishing compound and a yellow wool pad on a rotary polishing machine. And we basically buffed the scratch out as you would with a traditional gloss clear coat.
Of course.
And what do you notice that happened here?
It's really shiny. It looks great, but
It's
kind
very
of,
shiny, exactly. And that's exactly what will happen with a frozen finish if you try to polish anything, any type of surface imperfection, any type of paint defect, a scratch, a gouge, or something like that, can't be polished away from the surface.
All right, if I want to touch something up, so I got a little nick here from, driving and, rock hit me, and I want to just touch it up. What do you think?
Touching up a frozen finish is possible, just like any paint finish. But I just want to clarify one thing. When we touch up the finish on a vehicle, any vehicle, whether it's frozen finish or not, the idea of the touch-up is to protect the substrate, so to protect the metal from corroding, from rusting, right? That's the purpose of touch-up. It also provides some cosmetic improvement, but that's really not the goal of the touch-up. A lot of people are under the impression that a touch-up is to hide the scratch or repair the scratch, and really that's not the case. The idea of a touch-up is really just to prevent corrosion from happening from underneath.
So really it's about protection and then looking good afterwards.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. With that said, when we have a frozen finish, we know right off the top, if we want it perfect, and a lot of our customers are very picky about their finish, if they want it perfect and we want to restore it to the original condition, it would have to be refinished. So in that case, we have training programs that we offer for the dealers, and what I wanted to do is more or less explain to you some of the differences. So we put together this panel, and this is referred to as a letdown panel, and it looks like 3 different colors. Actually, it's not. The ground color or the base coat color is the same. And what we've done here, I put this together just to show you some examples of how these finishes are treated during a repair. So what a painter would have to do is mix up the repair material and spray it. And what we've done here is we've mixed the frozen clear with slow hardener and slow thinner. It's a 2-component product, so we have to activate it. So slow hardener, slow thinner, and apply it. We've baked it, let it dry. And then here what we did was use normal hardener, normal thinner. Same exact temperature, same exact ground coat, just different hardener selection. And notice what's happening here. The gloss level is increasing, right?
Of course, yeah.
And
this one's even more.
Right. What we're talking about here is temperature range, hardener selection, application methods. If you were to spray one of these panels and I was to spray one with the same temperature, same guns, we may get 2 different results.
Okay.
So it's very critical for a painter to create one of these letdown panels. So when he goes to the vehicle, he can match it up and he knows what hardener selection, what fluid tip size he used, and what temperature range it was when he applied it. So he can match it to that finish. So he knows exactly how to do the repair. And this isn't new to painters out there in the body industry. With many tri-coats and pearls, this is common practice. So we have to do the same application process, evaluation prior to actually doing the repair. So it's time consuming. It takes a little bit of preparation prior to refinishing the vehicle. The key message is this, that if a customer has damage to the frozen finish, it's important to have a trained technician repair that frozen finish. In fact, why don't we take a walk over to the paint shop and I'll show you the application of that frozen finish.
Let's check it out.
Let's go.
Wow, so what's going on in here?
All right. Well, this is our paint training center. So right now, Jose is over there prepping a few panels, getting ready for our advanced color system training that we'll have this week. It actually starts tomorrow, so he's getting a lot of the things ready. A lot of what we do is right in here in the paint mixing room. Well, this is our paint mixing system. We have 2 retrieval systems in here, so we can conduct a paint training class at any given time. We run 2 classes simultaneously, but we can mix paint for any vehicle as long as there's a formula for it, not just BMW vehicles.
I'm ready to do this. I geeked out and got to paint my first frozen hood, but I'm a detail guy, so let's get out there and clean that M3. Now, in the first episode, we talked about how to wash a car, and specifically the Audi R8 Blackbird. And as I suspected, I got a ton of emails about matte finish paints. Although the wash techniques are somewhat similar, there are a few major differences we need to cover before we move on to the other detailing tricks covered in the upcoming episodes. To start off, I'm pre-treating the grille and the front bumper with a citrus bug remover to loosen embedded insects. Let it sit for a minute or 2, then begin the paint wash process. The reason it's good to pre-soak bugs is that you can't be too aggressive with the paint. Think about it, any extra rubbing or increased pressure can cause the finish to flatten out and increase its light reflection, obviously defeating the purpose of the frozen paint and its light-absorbing qualities. Next, heavily rinse the paint top to bottom as always. Notice I'm standing on water grates that catch runoff water and dispose of it properly. Be sure to check your local town regulations about this runoff water. Personally, I'd rather have a dirty car than dirty drinking water, so be heads up on that. Now that the majority of the dirt is rinsed off, use the 2-bucket method with or without the foam gun. As always, work in straight lines top to bottom. But remember, don't use a hard sponge here. It's not only more likely to scratch the paint, but to ruin your matte finish. Why? Because if you scratch the paint, you can't polish or compound it out. When you're done, rinse the soap off and dry with compressed air, a spin around the block, or a gentle drying towel. Then, you're good to go. Remember these tips. Don't buff, polish, compound, or use any abrasive products on the finish. These products create a reflective surface by leveling the clear coat until it's flat and smooth, acting like a mirror. Likewise, avoid waxes, glazes, sealants, or any product with silicones or what we call fillers. All these products are designed to add depth and shine because they fill up the imperfections in the paint to create a flat, reflective surface, defeating the purpose of having matte finish paint.
This BMW M3 with the frozen paint package is obviously gorgeous. And today we learned about what frozen paint is, what do you do when it gets scratched, and of course how to properly clean and maintain it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether you have frozen paint or regular paint. The purpose of these cars is to get out and drive them. That's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching Drive Clean right here on the Drive channel.